second. Cue up the rate. My mouse working.
Yeah, that's right.
Too many screens going on. 1 second. Every time I use this thing, it does something. There we go. And where are we, Joseph? I forgot to introduce Joseph. So Joseph is with Cazenovia College, and take it away.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Beck. As you mentioned, I'm a senior at Cazenovia College, and I was working on the European Frog-Bite Removal Project with Yorks and all of our technicians. And a very, very important shout out to Lauren Lyons. She was the spearhead of this whole project. She's the one that made it possible. She helped create and submit the plan for the whole project. Without her, this would be impossible. And with all of our tenacious field techs, there were some days where it was pretty rainy and cold, but they powered through it. So it was a very good, huge effort and a good group effort. So before we get into the project, I just want to go over what frog-bite looks like. Maybe if you've been on the lake, you'll have seen it before. But here's a diagram. We actually use this on our shirts that we have for the staff members. It's help with public education as well. So when they see us, they can just pretty much turn somebody around and give them a good demonstration. And of course, safety yellow. So one of the big things is there isn't much that you can confuse with it. There's one species of plant, which I'll talk about, that's very similar, but largely it's very easy to point out. It has heart-shaped leaves. Sometimes they can be a little bit more rounded at the base, as you'll see in just a moment. They have filamentless roots, so they won't go into the substrate. They are free-hanging. They absorb oxygen through the water. This makes them easy to pull, but unfortunately, they branch out and cause quite a bit of a mat. So while they are not deeply rooted like some plants would be, they come in a huge bundle. And the big thing with these is you have to pick them at the right time. Once you get later in the summer, early fall, they start forming something called a turion. It's essentially a bud that drops off and falls into the substrate, and then it waits there until the growing season the next year. So once that starts happening, it's pretty much time to stop. You can't really do much more because it's already too late. You can't go through and dredge up everywhere to get those out. And that was our big kind of issue toward the end there, is they started forming a little bit earlier than we expected. So we had to stop about 2 weeks early, but we managed to get quite a bit out. We were able to do quite a bit of effort with this. Here's an example close up, and this is where we can start seeing the issues with what frog-bite causes. You can see some of these leaves are heart-shaped, like I mentioned, but some of them are a little bit rounded in the base. They have a very distinct white 3-petaled flower with a yellow center, and they're about 1 to 2 inches wide. And that'll come into play in a moment when we talk about the one species that can be confused with frog-bite. When it comes in such a dense mat like this is actually not even the most dense. This can cut off all sunlight to anything below the water, and you have issues where it can impede recreational craft, canoes, kayaks, things of that nature, fish travel. But also, when it goes to die off in the fall, this causes a severe drop in oxygen levels, which impacts all the fish and other aquatic organisms in that body of water, in that section. It can actually be fatal for some species that are highly sensitive to dissolved oxygen levels. The only thing that is really going to be hard when someone's not familiar with frog-bite, they've never seen it before, is confusing it with water lilies. Right here we see a picture of them both together. They have vaguely the same leaf shape. Obviously there's a difference in size and a difference in the clefting up at the top of the lobes. But really it's the only thing that if someone's going to be first going out, if you have young children or anything, you want to come help clean up the lakeside with you, this is probably the only thing you're really going to need to tell them about is this. The smaller ones with a more heart-shaped leaf and not quite a deep cleft in the lobing. This was the main area we worked on for the lake. This is a map from 2017 with our estimate. And here at the north end of the swamp, that was really the harshest, most dense area where you saw that one deep matting picture. That's where that was from, right through that channel. And then it gradually tapered out. However, this year, when we went to go do it, it was actually quite a a bit more. We managed to get just about everything in this whole section down to the bottom of the lake, with only some remnants left in the swamp area. This is a 3-year plan. Right now, we are getting funding directly from the DEC through the township. How it works is that the staff members are employed through the college. It's much easier to do it that way than have them be official town employees. So the town, through this granting process, reimburses the college, and we are hired through Cazenovia College. It's a very similar system to how when we hire students on campus, so it's a very easy, simple process. And we also want to give a shout out to the Boy Scouts of America Troop 18. They donated at a very reduced rate for the rental for the canoes, which made this very easy and possible. And Dr. Thad Yorks is here as well, and him along with Lauren Lyons are both the project managers for this. He will be available at the end if there are any questions. He'll be the one speaking on behalf of that. And our goal is pretty much just to get rid of the European frogbit from the Caze Lake watershed. This can get easily out of control. Once it gets too far, it's going to be very hard to get it back in, so it's very imperative that we get as much as we can and eradicate it now while it's still relatively contained. Our saying, as we put on the back of our shirts, it's very simple, easy to remember. As you can see, we have huge piles. This is nothing compared to the overall quantity. But as you can see, this is just a fraction, and it's still a huge amount. And it's just to throw it high and let it dry. What we did is we had everyone out in canoes. We were pulling it into the canoes, and then all you have to do really is put it somewhere where it can stay dry. Whether it's on the side of the road. In this case, we put it against a guardrail. You can see for size how big that pile was getting, and that's just one of the piles. As long as it is out of water for even just a few hours, it's pretty much going to die off. It's very highly water dependent, like most aquatic plants, so it cannot survive without being submerged for even a short amount of time. And this was a really great combined team effort. We had people of all education levels, all ages helping out here. Boy Scouts, high school students, college grads, college students like myself. So it was a good team effort. We had a lot of people involved. Again, shouting out to Lauren Lyons, who made this project possible. Dr. Thad Yorks, he was a great manager and supervisor for this project. All the volunteers we had were excellent. This was hard work, but they still powered through it. And it really was a lot of fun. As you can see here, they're standing in completely drenched, raining out, but we were still having a great time. So even though can be hard work, it really is a great experience. If you have anyone that thinks they might want to get involved with this kind of work, or if you want to get involved with this yourself, maybe volunteer a day or two, it really is a great project. You get to see the lake, you get to go around, and you're helping out the lake as well. Because when you get rid of this, it's much better for all aquatic organisms. You're not going to have to worry about it ever getting out of hand if we can get this under control now. Pretty much we plan on doing the same thing as what we did this year. We had a very great success, but what we really want to start focusing on is doing it sooner. Like I mentioned, we had issues with the turions forming sooner than we planned, and that pretty much cuts off what we can do with the project. We also had some issues where there was beaver dam that ended up getting knocked out. Unfortunately, that dropped water levels. So we can get to this sooner, we can get a lot more done. And since we've had such a great effort, we think we're going to continue to even have a better effort, adding on another month or two to the beginning of our project. I will be graduating, so I may not be part of this project for the year 2, but Lauren Lyons is the head of this project. She is definitely a good resource to go to if you want to get involved or get more information about the project. And as well as Thad Yorks, he will be here, as I mentioned, for questioning. But please do feel free, if you know anyone that wants to get involved with this. It really was a good experience. It is, again, honest, hard work, but it is a very good time. You get to hang out with people that are very interested in the lake. With the younger students, you get to explain how this kind of thing works. They get to have a good experience learning how to not only get just work experience, but being out and being involved in the environment. And whenever you can get kids outside, that's a great thing. So thank you very much for your time.
Did you just find it in the north end?
It was all around that area, at the map area we showed. We found it all through there, through the bottom of the lake, but the north end was really the harshest, most concentrated area. The southern end, I think there was maybe like a few spots here and
Some
there.
in the outlet. Yeah.
But it was mostly just the whole northern lake all around where the swamp was. That's really the big dead center zone. Yeah, it was very, very tense.